But what would healthy sleep actually look like?
Let's get a couple of things on the table right now as we talk about what great sleep looks like. Because what we should be doing on average, and of course, depending on your age, anywhere from a baby to a senior individual, it is going to vary a little bit. If we look at kind of the working group in that 25 to 65 group, on average, people should be looking for about 7.5 hours of undisrupted sleep. And that undisrupted dimension is really, really important, Morgan. Okay, so there is going to be some variation in there, but let's strive for 7.5 hours of undisrupted sleep. I think a couple of things that I want to get on the table right now before we talk about what good sleep architecture looks like is that we need to understand, Morgan, that sleep problems don't start when you put your head on the pillow at night. They actually start when you take your head off the pillow in the morning, and it's all the goofy stuff that we do all day long, all these unhealthy therapeutic lifestyle choices that we make that actually culminate in us not being able to sleep when we put our head on the pillow at night. So we need to kind of engineer our day to get great sleep. The other thing, Morgan, it's really important that we understand that there's a couple of dimensions to sleep. There's many more, but generally speaking, number one is sleep onset. Can I fall asleep? And number two is sleep maintenance. Can I stay asleep? And different things that we do throughout the day may impact on one of those two core dimensions of sleep. So now when we look at great sleep, and if we strive for that 7.5 hours, give or take, we need to understand a couple of fundamental things, Morgan. Number one, we don't just fall asleep, go into deep sleep, and stay there until we wake up. What we actually do, Morgan, is we're awake, then we drop into REM sleep, and then we go through non-REM, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4 until we're down into deep sleep there. And non-REM, stages 3 and 4, that's that deep or slow wave sleep. Generally speaking, give or take, and stuff like that, each cycle, we'll go through 5 cycles where we'll drop all the way down into non-REM stage 3 and 4, and then we'll pop back up into REM, and then we'll drop back down into non-REM and pop back up into REM. We will go through 5 cycles that, give or take, will last about an hour and a half, Morgan. So 5 times an hour and a half is 7.5. The interesting part about these cycles is that not all cycles are created equal. Different things are happening during different cycles. For example, in the first 3 cycles, we tend to get more non-REM than REM. In the last 2 cycles, we tend to get more REM than non-REM. And this is by design, because different reparative and restorative things are taking place during each of these different cycles. And that's why we really emphasize the undisrupted component. And so we need to look after both dimensions. Can we fall asleep? And just as importantly, can we stay asleep?